My next guest is a women's empowerment coach and podcaster. She helps ambitious women build confidence grounded in their strong personal identity, focus their emotions, and cultivate a no limits mindset. Please welcome Krati Mehra. Welcome to the Powerful Female Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Patricia Bourgeois, certified business coach. I am here to help you up-level, generate consistent wealth, increase your confidence, attract dream clients, and master your mindset so that you can fully own your power and achieve next-level results in your online business and beyond. Every week, a powerful conversation will take place with amazing guests, or I'll share from my experience to help inspire you to start and scale the business of your dreams while being powerfully you. The time has come to stop playing small, stop hiding, and stop waiting. Now is the perfect time for you to passionately pursue your heart's desire as the powerful leader you were born to be. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Female Leaders Podcast. I am here today with Krati. Hi.
Hi, Anna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yeah, I'm so excited to dive in. So feel free to share with us who you are, what you do, and what got you into what you do.
So, I'm a women's empowerment coach. I am also a podcaster. I am focused on doing one on one coaching with mission centered women. And we focus heavily on creating clarity, working on courage and confidence. So, most of the time, I'm working with women who are, chasing specific goals, but they are
Mm-hmm.
struggling with confidence, they are struggling with visibility, and they want to sort of be reminded of just what kind of power they have, what are they capable of. So we dive in and we are very, as I said, very goal focused. So based on
Mm-hmm.
what kind of life they want to create, I show them how to channel all of their resources into becoming the women they need to be so they can create the life they want. So I love my
Mm.
work. Obviously, this is not the kind of work you can do if you are not all in. So this has a lot to do with I think just observing my mom since I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and just other women around me. I've seen, like, my entire life I've been watching so many amazing women put themselves down and
Mm-hmm.
generally like take a lot of abuse, take a lot of um I guess just like dismissals, like
Mm.
letting people
Yeah.
tell them who they are, letting them put them down, limit them in so many ways, and it's always annoyed me so much. And obviously growing up I couldn't do anything about it except think to myself that I would never be that person. I was also raised to be extremely bold and confident. So now I get to do something about it. Now I get to channel all of that anger into
Mm.
creating positive impact. I also like had a very long struggle with depression and mental health issues. So while I was
Mm-hmm.
recovering, I started volunteering. So I ended up
Mm.
working with a lot of women who budding entrepreneurs who wanted to sort of hone their confidence and their communication, and it was just one of the most amazing experiences because just to be in that room with women who um, come from backgrounds that aren't very supportive, and just backgrounds that you would look at and you would wonder if this person really even
Mm.
should be on this path, because everything in their life is telling you that the odds are just completely against them, but they're still determined. These women that I worked with a lot of underprivileged women who barely had any education at all, but
Mm.
they had a dream and they were ready to do whatever it took to pursue that goal. So that was very, very inspiring for me. And when you are in a room like that with women like that, if
Mm.
there is a way for you to be part of that journey, it's the most rewarding, the most gratifying thing. So I think that really made me wonder how I could do more of that work, how I could get involved and like go all in and just create a positive impact and do what I can to help propel these dreams forward. So I ended up building my business around it. So to think that I
Mhm.
get paid to do this work is amazing to me.
Yeah, it's awesome. Wow, there's so much to unpack here. So, what would you say happens when like long repressed women who haven't been silenced or haven't really been inside their full power, like what happens when they step into that? Like what would you say is the biggest thing that pops up?
I think it depends. Like so many women are just so ready to meet a different version of themselves, because if you've been
Mm,
repressed and if you've been doing that to yourself as well, I think
mm,
it brings up a lot when you start to realize, because as we go through our sessions, a lot of women start to notice just how they keep putting themselves down. Like we would have these dialogues back and forth, and I would be able to point it out to them, like the language they're using. And a
yeah.
lot of the times they're very startled. They don't even realize that they're doing this to themselves, and then they'll realize, oh, I'm just repeating what my husband keeps saying, and I'm just repeating what my parents keep saying. And they internalize those narratives so completely that they start repeating them as if they're their own, but they're not.
Mm,
And so just being able to differentiate what is coming from within you and what is being fed to you, I think that creates sort of like, it creates kind of shock waves, wherein
yeah.
you suddenly start to take apart everything that you've known about yourself. So a lot of the times that journey could be very rewarding, and you can build from one step to the other. And some of the times it also scares women, because they are
Mm,
discovering this whole new version of themselves, and they don't know who they are anymore, and they feel very adrift. If I'm doing my job well, I'm able to support them through it, and we're able to keep going. But sometimes some women need to like pull back, take a moment, and sort of just recenter themselves before they go back into battle. So but it's a lot
mm,
of fun, because I think you have to understand that unless you are pushed, to do new
mhm,
things, and you're challenged in a way where it isn't just some kind of like uh, a professional goal that you're chasing, or an intellectual goal that you're chasing, but something that really has your like emotional investment, something that matters to you. And when you're doing that, I think it just brings out all of these shades to your character, and all of these nuances to your character that you didn't know existed. And you get to meet this whole new version of yourself, and you stay in that fight despite all of what it might bring up for you, because you're so
mhm.
emotionally invested, and you created this persona of who you can potentially be. And that version of you has a, you're already attached to that version, so you start stepping into that persona. And I think it's an amazing thing to watch.
Yes, totally. I like this so much. And what about women who start their own business or are in business and they're growing
Yeah.
their own thing? Like, how would you say that impacts how you see yourself? How you step into that leadership? Like how do you go
Right.
from being so repressed to like being that person?
Okay. So you're asking me, if you have a lot of fears, you start your own business, how do you work through those fears and
Yeah.
get to a place of confidence? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think, as I said, like if you have a very specific goal that you want to chase, I think you need to get very deeply invested into that goal, first of all. Because if you come from a background like that, where you were constantly told that you're not good enough, that these sort of this journey is not for you, you're not meant for this path, then it can get very difficult for you. Because as and when you take a bold step forward, all of those voices are going to come up. You're going to hear all of those narratives pipe up in your head, and they'll remind you that, are you sure you want to do this? Because this is not who you are. You're not capable. You're not good enough. Your parents didn't think you were good enough. Why
Mm,
would you even risk this? So all of those voices are going to come up. So you need to be very like emotionally invested in your goal to keep going. It has to matter to you on a visceral level. It has to matter to you
mm,
beyond the profits and beyond how it would make you look to the world. It has to matter to you deeply on an emotional level. And then I am someone who works very deeply on creating identities. So as and when,
mhm,
we start doing coaching work, we start doing one-on-one work, a lot of these women are living identities that they didn't create on their own. Most of us are, right? Because we go
mm,
from like our childhood to our adolescence to our teenage. We don't ever at any point stop to create an identity. Like that is not the kind of work that is encouraged by anyone, like
Yeah.
not teachers, not parents, not anyone. So we just sort of collect experiences as we go along, and it's a mishmash. We have good experiences and bad experiences, but at no point do we stop to consider, okay, so I'm holding on to all of this information about myself. What does this information say, and does it even serve me? So when I start
Mm.
doing one-on-one work with these women, they have a lot of the times, like we all have baggage, obviously. So like
Mhm.
from the get-go, like from the initial sessions, what we do is we start creating an identity that would serve them. So if you think about all the goals you have, if I want to run $1 million company, then $1 million company owner would be a certain kind of woman. It wouldn't be
Mhm.
a woman who dismisses herself. It wouldn't be a woman who doesn't know how to hire and fire. It would be a woman who knows where she's going and knows how she's going to get there. So it takes us, your goals sort of require you to be a certain kind of person. Not sort of, they do require you to be a certain kind of person. So you need a lot of clarity around who that woman is and where you
Mm.
are currently, and how completely, like how, to what extent are those two out of alignment with each other. Like the woman that I am
Mm.
today and the woman I need to be to hit all of my goals, are
Mhm.
how completely out of alignment those two versions are, and on what levels. Like if it's my mindset that's in trouble, or if it's my support system, if it's my environment, if it's my self-dialoguing, if it's just the internal monologue that plays on a loop, all of that, we go
Mm.
into all of that. It is one of the most fun things to do, and obviously your identity covers everything from who you believe yourself to be, to your value system, to your priorities, to what drives you, to what holds you back. We do all of that. Like we create a whole new person, like a writer would do for their story. You know how when you pick up a
Mhm.
book, you learn everything about that character. So that is what we do in the session. And once you have that identity, you can start living up to that person. Like you can start making it. Obviously it's not an overnight thing. It is not easy to sort of
Mm.
take apart years old wiring, years old narratives that have sort of burrowed inside you, that are running your life. It takes a while to get to a place where you are just naturally living that version of you, where you are constantly out. Like
Yes.
I do this thing a lot with myself. I always ask myself certain questions whenever I'm making a decision, because I made decisions a few till a few years back. I made a lot of decisions from a place of fear. I was trying to keep myself safe because of my mental health. But and that sort of became a habit. So now I'm always asking myself, is this coming from a place of fear? Is this coming from a place of growth? What are you doing? Does this make any sense? Because sometimes keeping yourself
Mhm.
safe is the best thing to do, but most of the time you gotta take the leap, because it will take you out of your comfort zone, and when that happens, you get to grow a lot. So it sounds very complicated, but it's actually a very simple process if you think about it, because it's
Mhm.
instinctual to want to keep yourself safe, and it is instinctual to stick to what is familiar. But so many times what is familiar is also extremely dysfunctional, and the
Mm.
moment you start seeing that, change starts to happen. You start, like a
Yeah.
whole new person starts to emerge. So working on the identity, that's like a big part of it. And then obviously we work a lot on emotions as well, because you need
Mhm.
to know how to manage your internal voice, how to manage your emotions when that, when you're doing something big, like stepping on stage or going into a meeting with people who you think are, all of them are like better than you. So managing that sense of inadequacy, imposter syndrome, all of that, how do you manage that? How do you talk to your emotions? How do you talk to fear as and when it comes up for you, so that it doesn't get in the way of your progress, and that you can show up fully, like all cylinders firing, without this
Mhm.
voice whispering in your head, you're not going to make it, you're not going to make it. So you need to know how to manage your emotions. That's something else we work on, and it's like, it's all of it is so much fun, because I think when you book with a coach, when a woman actually makes that booking, signs that contract, or whatever it takes to like get working with any coach out there, what basically you're saying is that I already believe I've got this. I believe I've got
Mm.
this. is not a consciously, like, even if you're not consciously aware of that voice in your head, that is essentially what you're saying. I believe in myself. I'm going to make this investment in myself because I value my life. I value where I'm going. I value this journey. So in that in itself is such a strong and powerful move. And when you start seeing it like that, I think this all of these things combined, they start to create a lot of positive change, a lot of very powerful change. And just signing with a coach in itself is a powerful move. So from that
Mhm.
point forward, a lot of change starts happening.
Yes. I'm all about making bold moves. Like that's my love
Yeah.
language, and most of the women I work with, they know what they want. They go for it, and they know that something
Yeah.
incredible always happens. So yeah, I love that. And so I ask this to everyone who comes on the show, and I'm curious to know your answer. For you, what does it mean to be a powerful leader?
So for me to for you to be a powerful leader, I think you need to be very, 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 very clear on what
Mm-hmm.
kind of influence you want to have. You need to, because anyways, like, the world is so confused right now. People are just constantly going back and forth on what it is that they want out of their life, or maybe they are chasing a specific goal, but they're going about it in a way that says something completely different about them. Like, I want to be a confident woman, but then I keep letting people who see me as someone inadequate, who see me as someone weak and fragile, run my life. So
Mm,
those two narratives don't gel with each other. So people are anyway, so like, there's so much confusion and just so much, I think, fear around everything these days. So you got to have a lot of clarity before you start influencing someone else's life in any capacity. You need to know what you're
mm,
about and what kind of change you want to see out there, so that you can consciously create that change. So I think any leader needs to have a lot of clarity what it is that they're doing, what it is that they want, what kind of influence they want to have. And then I think
mm-hmm,
you need to be able to communicate to people on their level. So not all the time would I talk about power in a session. Sometimes all you want to do is you want to talk about just valuing yourself. Power is something that comes a lot later. You have to start with seeing yourself as a human being worthy of, like,
mm,
the basics in life, like basic dignity, you know? The dignity
mm-hmm,
of being allowed to dream for yourself, being allowed to choose for yourself. Like, do I want to go down this path or not? Letting other people make your decisions for you when you're a grown ass woman, it can be very
mm,
demeaning, but you don't see it as such. You see these people as keeping you safe, people who don't even allow you to make your choices for yourself. So you got to be able to see where this person is at, the person you are influencing, and meet them at that level, so that it
mm,
is not a shock. It is not, they don't end up feeling more adrift than they did when they came into your life or let you into their journey. So you have to speak to people on their level, and I think you have to, through your own example. This is something that is hugely important for me. I don't know if it matters or not, but anytime I am saying some things to my client or speaking something on a podcast, if I've taken up a topic, if I'm all about making bold decisions, if I'm all about not working from a place of fear, I need to know that I live my life accordingly. That I am
mm,
not, look, a lot of the times you teach things that you don't necessarily follow. And that's not necessarily a wrong thing. I mean, you can't do everything you teach. Like, we teach a lot of things when we create content, and some of those things are work for you, some of things don't, but that doesn't make them wrong. They might just work for the people you're addressing, who I believe that women, they should, what they should be going for, what they should be targeting. I need to know that I'm living my life accordingly. Like, I have a similar value system. I'm someone who is not constantly making decisions from a place of fear. Like, when right now my podcast is on a hiatus, but when I was running it actively, I used to stay up all night to do the recordings, to
mm,
work with people from different time zones, and it was hurting my health so much. Like, my hair
mm,
was falling out, I was having like, my body was sort of suffering. So I decided to stop doing that and, like, create a schedule that actually works for me. And I love getting up early in the morning. So now I go to bed at 9 and I get up at 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m. And now when I get, like, invites to podcasts, I would tell them that, you know what, I can't make this work. This is what my schedule
mm.
is like I did with you. So,
Yeah,
and then you were nice enough and considerate enough to work with my
yeah.
schedule. So you need to believe that your content matters, that your voice matters, that your messaging matters, and like push back and let people meet you where you're at and value
Mm-hmm.
yourself in that respect. Because this is something I teach women all the
Yes.
time. Learn to say no, learn to set boundaries, value yourself enough to be able to do that. So I need to live my life accordingly. So I think that is also a huge part of being a leader. You need to walk the talk as much as you can, at least.
Yeah, I always say that. Like like your word is your law. You gotta like really follow what
Yeah.
you teach others. Like it's so important to have that integrity, and it's so important
Yeah.
to take care of yourself. So I'm so glad that you talked about that because that's such a great thing to be reminded of. I feel like we should be reminded every day.
Yeah, I'm glad that resonates with you.
Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, this is so good. So, do you have, any last piece of wisdom that you'd like to share with the audience today?
I just to women listening to this episode, I just want to say one
Mm-hmm.
thing that you need to keep in mind as as you travel, like as you go on this whatever journey you're on. I
Mm-hmm.
need need you to believe that you have all the resources that you need, whatever goal it is that you've picked for yourself, wherever it is that you're going. You need to know that you have got everything that this goal needs, everything that this goal needs, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is. Like, you want to be a millionaire, you want to be a successful model, you want to be a speaker, whatever it is, you've got this. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, you have to believe that you have the internal resources to make this happen. You just got to figure out how you're going to do it. But the
Mm-hmm.
resources you need, you have them. And once you start believing that, like believing that with a lot of conviction, you will find the strategies, the techniques that you need to sort of make that woman come out and let her take control. So just believe that you've got the
Yes.
resources and be ambitious. As in, when you encounter a limitation, push against it. Don't just accept it. Like, if I'm trying something new today and it doesn't work for me, instead of saying that this does not work for me, I cannot do this, just say, reframe that to, I cannot do this today. Tomorrow I'll try.
Mm.
I'll come back and see how this goes again. So be ambitious, keep pushing against your limits, because I guarantee you, if you make that a way of life for yourself, you will discover so many amazing things about yourself. You will be very surprised
Yes.
at the women you meet every time you do that. So yeah, that's it.
Amen. You got this, girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. So, where can people go to connect with you further, learn more about your services online?
Okay, so I have a website, kratimehra.com,
Mhm.
KRATIMEHRA, kratimehra.com. So you can go on there. You can There's a button that takes you to a work with me page. So all the details are there. You can book an inquiry call. It's a 15-minute call, so we can make sure that we are compatible, that we can actually work
Mhm.
together. If you want to do one-on-one coaching, that's the way to go. If you're not quite ready for that, I have a podcast that you can listen to, On a Terms podcast. We are working on rebranding the name. It's all in the works. It's taking a little bit of time. But you can listen to the podcast. You can join the newsletter. The newsletters are really, like, I would recommend that highly, because I get really, really candid, really, really open in my newsletters.
Mhm.
I also have a YouTube channel now that I'm working on, so you can
Ooh.
join that. I will share all the links, and hopefully, like, people listening to this podcast who want to connect with me can like get those links from the episode description. I also have an Instagram account, and you can definitely I answer all of my DMs. I love getting DMs. So if you have like a quick question, you're not ready for a one-on-one coaching, but you do have questions that you want to ask me, maybe follow up to this episode perhaps, then by all means, like, yeah, come see me on Instagram and we can hang out.
Yes, go follow Krati. She's awesome. Thank you again for coming on the show today. It was so fun.
Absolutely. This was such a fun episode to record. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Powerful Female Leaders podcast. If you love this episode, make sure to spread the message, leave a review, and subscribe. I would forever be grateful for you. I also want to hear from you, and I want to know your feedback and your questions for future episodes. So don't be shy, say hi, and send me a message at Powerful Female Leaders Podcast on Instagram. Until then, I'll see you on the next episode.